Time for some future gazing and a look at how tech developers in the tourism sector are using feedback from potential customers to develop and refine their products. This session will look at the digitization journey of a company and what are the key considerations. It will unpack one of the most valuable technologies to invest in, from AI to chatbots and robotics to FinTech. So, let us meet our panel.
Our speakers for Plenary 16 panel are Marina Ferfolja, Head of Research and Analytics, Slovenian Tourism Board. Rusmir Rieger, Operations Manager, Numa, Germany. Saso Krumpak, Founder, Halki Reservation System. And finally, here's our moderator, Rachel Reed, Director of Insight and Business Improvement, ETOA.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. I am quite far away, but hopefully this will be fine. Oh, yes, exactly. Well, no need with our microphones, but yes, really looking forward to our session today. So shall we just dive right in? We might as well. So we are here to talk about innovation and the future of technology-enabled tourism. So first off, let's come right to you, Marina. And I'm really wondering, is there a sort of pathway to digitization that you see, sort of commonly trodden way? Maybe these are the normal first steps or second steps, or even a journey to digital maturity, as it were. What's been your experience?
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. Thank you, first organizers, for having me, and for everybody in the room that is still here on a Friday afternoon. I guess 5 things. I tried to shorten this in 5 points. I think the first one always is around just strategy, just knowing where you're going, because it's so easy to get lost in all the offers and all the possibilities. The second one, linked really closely with it, is the why. I guess the why behind the strategy and why you're digitizing. Because, yeah, I guess for us, we are at a point where, I guess, as an organization, as a Slovenian national board and all our destinations as well, we're moving from marketing to management, and this has really, really led us to believe we have certain needs, and digitalization can help us achieve them. For example, the big, it was discussed yesterday a lot, big point is data, and we really knew that we can't manage if we can't measure things. So we started looking at what data we have, what data we're using, what data we're missing to be able to make decisions. So this really kind of got us to this path of needing tools, needing to digitalize things. And then we got to challenges and problems, which is often around people. We understood our organization is probably not fit for things, and then the skills and the competencies, so we had to really kind of build on that. And only as a 5th point, we get to digital products that we need to build to help us in our day-to-day. So for us, at the moment, the big one is our national intelligence hubs, which is kind of dealing with trying to address the data challenges. And again, that will help us both kind of with our internal efficiencies, help management, managing our destinations, and also then serve the travelers better, collaborate with businesses better, so it goes all back to why. So that would be my 5: strategy, the why, the data, the people, and then, then the products.
So quite a bit of thinking before doing in your case. Rusmir, I know we've spoken about this as well in your area. Would you say the same thing in terms of preparation before the journey, or how's the journey to digitization in your field, would you say?
Absolutely, Rachel. So, short note about Numa. Numa was founded in 2019, and with our digital-first strategy, we were able to very quickly see our opportunities for growth and expansion in European accommodation landscape. And with our digital-first strategy, we were as well being able to develop all needed tech stack for our operational, revenue distribution, and many other teams. And yeah, in the moment we are operating in 14 countries and 32 cities in Europe. Side note for everyone, Numa is operating staff-less hotels, which means no receptions on site with fully digital check-in. And yeah, I would say when it comes to the digital maturity, I would just put it in very simple 3 phases. First phase would be obviously foundation, which means assessing your main goals and objectives. So what do you want to achieve? For example, improving operational efficiency, followed by calculation of ROI or return of investment. Second step would be, I would say, digitisation, which obviously means web and mobile site optimization backed with very robust engines for the booking procedures, and as well followed by IoT, so-called Internet of Things, and we can speak here about smart room locks, and we can speak here about smart in-room applications. Last phase would be innovation, where artificial intelligence steps into the game, especially AI chatbots that are supporting customers' teams that are like operating 24/7. And for Numa digital maturity, I would say it was like bold beginnings and bright breakthroughs with the question, how can we disrupt hospitality industry? Therefore, we said no to receptions, and we developed our own digital check-in and check-out. We said as well no to the long reception queues. We communicate with our guests per WhatsApp. And one interesting thing is about guest experience team, we call them like state-of-art guest experience teams that are operating completely remotely, so in the remote setup, and they achieved customer satisfaction score in the high 80s, overachieving industry leaders like Marriott and Hyatt with an average of 76. And all of that remotely without even having reception in the place. And the last thing, I would say that our investment in AI, in general in the AI and AI chatbots, was being really transformative experience, and it really boosted efficiency and productivity of our guest experience teams. So I'll put all that together on top, whatever thing Marina said as well, super important to have the strategy and direction.
Absolutely. Saso, did you want to come in?
Yeah, I wanted to tell you how the digitalization started for us. 15 years ago, we were just a DMC in Slovenia, and we worked like how I think still many DMCs work, in Excel. We had a very simple Excel sheet with voucher, and we had to do a voucher and every sheet a new one. So one for the same group doing a restaurant visit, the second sheet for the same group doing, I don't know, dinner arrangement, and so on. And then I was in the office, and I saw my Japanese colleague who was doing somehow different. She only typed once, and then all the worksheets were done automatically. And I told her, wow, Reiko, where did you get that? Well, my husband, he's an IT guy, and he figured out that this is silly, that how you are doing this, so he did that automation for me. And he told me, and I asked her, so why didn't you tell anybody? When did this happen? Well, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and yeah, I keep using it. But she was Japanese, very private, and so on, so she didn't share this with everybody. And I said, okay, Reiko, I need to speak to your husband. And now, 15 years later, this husband is head of our IT team, and we came from this Excel sheet to what we think is one of the best programs in our industry. We call it TOP, which stands for Tour Operators Program, and TOP because this is where we want to be. And we never put that on the market, actually. We only use it internally. We do everything from that, from quotation to operation, booking of hotels, invoicing, reporting, everything. We thought about putting it on the market, and we benchmarked it against others, maybe, you know, Open Destination, Tour Plan, and companies like that. And we saw we are more modern and better, but we kept it still for ourselves. Then Halki came as reservation platform. Now we are super busy with this one, but it's still somewhere in the pipeline, and I do want to make it happen one day. Well, but the answer to the question is, I think the best digitalizations are if they happen internally and people see a need of it. They're not, like now, many governments are prioritizing digitalization sometimes for digitalization's sake, and then companies have to do this even if it's just to get some funding or whatever. With us, it was really innate project, and I think this is the best way.
Thank you. Actually, just kind of following on from that, Rusmir, I know we were chatting yesterday, and you were saying at Numa as well, you had built quite a lot of your own technology. And I suppose I'm interested in the difference between producing your own versus buying something that's already out there, because I think a lot of people feel that a big barrier to all of this digitization is it's going to be costly in either time or money and skills and resourcing, and so both those two sides of things. And obviously Sasha and Rusmir, you've both built your own. How would you say that has helped you in terms of those savings, and how has it been beneficial for your business? If we come to you first, Rusmir, on that.
Absolutely. We are talking now about some decent data, so I will just have a look at my notes here. Super important thing, and even though if you're talking about any kind of the tech developments, we need to understand first 3 points, and that would be that why are companies scared to invest in technology is in the first row because of the high initial cost, especially when it comes to the maintenance and update of the systems, right? Second potential thing where there is, again, super big scare of it would be narrow profit margins. And we all know that hospitality has very limited operating budgets, which steps like as a second thing. And in the third row, I would say that uncertainty on the return of investment and as well lack of expertise how to calculate it is super important. What we did in Numa, and we are super proud on how we scaled with our technology and how we make significant savings. I would just like to proceed with very pure data that I have here, is that 90% of our guest journey is being fully automated. 80% of our back of house procedures are being as well automated as well. Therefore, we have 80% less back of house costs. 65% we have less staff costs due to the fact that we are staffless hotel. 30% we are achieving in the housekeeping costs, making significant savings as we deployed our cleaning robots, which are helping us to clean all of these areas. And as being already said, 60% of all inbound tickets, so-called guest requests, are being handled by our AI chatbot. And yeah, let's end on the brighter side when I'm talking about our AI chatbot. So it usually wins Employee of the Month award because, yeah, it's never late to work.
Oh, well, I'm wondering may I borrow one of your cleaning robots for my house? This sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Sasha, do you want to come in on how that you're having your own technology has saved your business?
Yeah, I mean, it has changed dramatically. Now we have more than 100 employees in 8 offices. We do, I think, 500,000 overnights a year, and that would be unimaginable with Excel, the way how we were working 15 years ago. I don't even think it's possible. It would be possible. Yeah, I think it's still, and we're constantly upgrading. Just yesterday, I got a new list of upgrades, what we changed. And we have a Trello, if you're familiar with the system. It's where we assign tasks, how to do it. People in the office speak with each other. We have a core team of, I think, 6 or 7 who decide what are the priorities and so on. And then we do. So we work a lot. We still invest a lot into that. But the alternative is to license such program. And those programs are very niche and expensive. And they wouldn't be ideally suited for us. So we made it something that's really good for us. Now, if we made we would have to do a generic version that would be more universal. And yeah, we're pondering about that, but yeah, it was crucial. I think digitalization, if it comes in right time and it's done well, it makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. So we've spoken obviously a bit about the journey towards digitalization. Once one is on the pathway, as we've seen with loads of the panels here, it's then all about innovation and moving forward with the next things. And I would be really interested to get your views and experience around new innovations in your areas, and who do you think is doing a good job? Because I think it's always wonderful to learn from people who've already gone before us. And Marina, maybe you could come in.
Yeah, I guess a bit further away from the tech experts, but yeah. as a tourism board, we, as I said, the big thing we're working on is this national intelligence hub, but we just launched a couple of weeks ago actually our chatbot, so our digital assistant, Alma, that can help you plan everything around Slovenia. And we've launched, I wouldn't even call it a podcast, but it's actually a Spotify playlist, so kind of trying to experience Slovenia through just hearing sounds, so either to get inspired or to kind of get the experience to last for longer. This is sort of our three things. And where we look up to, I guess in the data space, we really kind of look up to Finland at the moment and Helsinki. I think they're doing some amazing things going towards smart cities. Talking smart cities, also Malaga, and there's companies in Spain, a lot of data companies, and just we've heard today Scotland. I think they're doing a good job in the tech, enabling companies, collaborating. Those would be my three.
I think it's interesting as well, of course, currently the president of City DNA is in fact from Slovenia, who, you know, and they promote all of these things that you're speaking about, so very relevant. Yes, Rusmir.
So I believe that the biggest innovation in hospitality industry is at the moment happening at the palm of the guest hands, and that's so-called digital check-in. And throughout the history, we are witnessing the periods of constant change and transformation. So way back, farmers protested against the tractors. Today, there is no farm that is being operated only by hand. Way back, hotels were using front desk and receptions to check in the guests. Today, we are still witnessing super long reception queues. So opportunity to skip those long reception queues, opportunity to skip those corporate generic questions from the front desk agents. Hey, how was your trip, sir? And opportunity to skip those plastic room key cards that are usually not working is just priceless. And therefore, Numa developed, as being said, digital check-in and out around our setup. We developed artificial intelligence chatbots that are helping us to scale in the right way. We operate in the very, very lean and remote setup, and all of that as we are putting a guest in the center, and we call ourselves very, very much though guest-obsessed company. So I would say in the first row, that would be my perspective on innovation. And second, as being said, like with development of our AI chatbot, we transformed our operations and guest experience teams and everything else. And even before development, we were paying a lot of attention to the communication strategies. And there is one thing that we did superiorly different than any other in industry. And that's that we gave our guests opportunity to decide where, when, and how to contact us. And therefore, we developed Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, email, phone, and many other communications channels being open 24/7 for our guests, potentially to respond of all of their questions and make them, I would say, live. And then after that, yeah, development of our artificial intelligence bot was just super big and transformative experience that, yeah, as being said, boosted efficiency and productivity in our teams. And yeah, it's super important as well to say that that investment was very well measured, as Marina said, so it's super important to know, to measure that you can manage, and it pays back very, very well.
Just before coming to you, Sasha, Rusmir, this is a question just because I'm curious, and I wonder if maybe some of the audience would be. I've never been to a hotel that doesn't have a reception and it's all digital check-in. What happens if I get there and I just can't get the door open, or it doesn't work? How do I get help if there's no one there?
So I would say that our response time on the guest ticket is 2.5 seconds.
Wow.
Which means that in the first row, we will have our chatbot on the phone that will troubleshoot that issue with you. If that's not possible, and even though in the worst case scenario, what could happen is that you will be just assigned next room to yours, because we have as well smart assignment system, which means that all of those like rooms, and that we are coming back to the back of house procedures, they're fully automated, which means there is no one who is assigning daily reservations to the rooms. It being completely automated, which means the next room will be automatically assigned to you, so you can just normally and seamlessly check in.
That's reassuring, thank you. Sasha, let's come to you on innovation and who's doing a good job.
No, I mean, now the big question is, of course, AI and how to implement and introduce it to all of our businesses. I mean, it's a technology that is old for public knowledge, at least, a year and a half, and it has more than 200 million users. And that's the much faster adoption than any other technology before, much faster than mobile telephones or internet and so on. Okay, now people in our office, some of them are using this to write some texts and so on. I personally still like to write by myself, but I'm an old-fashioned person, I suppose. I wonder sometimes if somebody comes with a CV written by ChatGTP, and then reality is not like the same how this will look like. I don't think we had such a case yet, but it will undoubtedly happen very soon. But when I was flying here from London on Wednesday, I was overhearing a conversation which was quite interesting, I think. There was a couple, two Americans, I mean a couple, I would say early 50s. Looks like, I was working on a computer, but it was so interesting that I had to listen. They were chatting with a younger American girl and about where they are going. The flight was to Zagreb. So looks like he had some Croatian heritage, though it wasn't visible. I mean, his pronunciation was imperfect, and so it must have been something in behind. So yeah, she was asking them, what are you doing, where are you going? And it was interesting. He said, we are going to do active hikings in central Croatia, and then we go to the seaside, to Zadar, and so on, and some other places. And she asked, so, wow, how did you come up with such an itinerary? And he said, well, ChatGTP did it to me. So it looked like even early 50s are good enough and trust the technology enough. And I think it's going to change our business. I don't think travel agents are going to be disbanded or anything like that. I still think there is a big role for us. But our job description might change a bit. We will probably have clients like that coming with a very huge itineraries and very exact restaurants and so on, what they want to do, and they will just ask for a quote until it comes the day when the technology can book this for them by themselves. We'll see about it. And so, yeah, so we are trying now and looking how to use it, and we already are implementing it to Halki, for instance, some AI solutions. Even for the other program that I mentioned, TOP, we have now, the new version will have contracts, and the AI will input the rates and put it to the system, so no more typing. So a lot of these things that the technology can help. I still doubt that ChatGTP or any other version in the future can write Hamlet or draw Mona Lisa, because it's very generic, and I'm wondering whether it can make and how far it can stretch. But for day-to-day work, it is priceless, and it can be utilized, and I'm sure it's going to be. We'll see a huge development. So definitely artificial intelligence.
Absolutely.
Just to top up quickly, Sasha and Marina, because we are talking now about AI, and I have it in my mind. So I would say that the biggest advantage of the AI, especially when we are talking about chatbots, it's that they can simultaneously respond on hundreds and hundreds of messages in the seconds of a time. Because and this is the point, not everything needs to be done manually, not the Excel sheets, not the information that the guest may need, not maybe the information about our check-in hotel or surrounding area or how to book public transport. So that's a big advantage.
True, as long as they don't hallucinate, because they do invent bus lines that don't exist, restaurants that don't exist, hotels that don't exist. So we had quite some challenges to manage, because then at the end of the day, the traveler's experience is ruined because they come to a certain place where a certain restaurant should be, or a certain bus line that doesn't exist, and we have a problem. So it's definitely going to improve and change. We just have to be a bit cautious and careful at the moment, I think.
Well, that's good to hear, the note of caution there. It sounds like you speak from personal experience, Marina.
Indeed.
I think one of the big themes of the summit in general, as well as digitisation, has been sustainability. You know, we've seen that there's sort of two big pillars of our industry at the moment, and more it seems that they are intertwined. You know, we've seen lots of instances of technology being used to support green transition, etc. And I think it would be nice to kind of touch on that and some examples that either you're using, because I know certainly you are, Sasha, on your website and your booking platform. It would be really interesting just to hear about how technology, innovation, and sustainability are intertwined in your experience. Marina, you look ready to speak.
Thank you, Rachel. I guess for us in Slovenia, we've committed to sustainability, well, probably 10 years ago when we started with our Slovenia Green Scheme. And that has been the mindset and the driver, and these days sort of, it's part of the key element of every decision. But the digitalization really came at a point to enable us to do sustainability better and sustainable decisions, to scale, to build in efficiencies, to measure properly. So it would be really hard to, you know, everybody's asking why sustainable, what's the value? So with digital, we can actually make it valuable and have a ROI back. But I guess, and another thing, the theme of the last 2 days was how to do it, and it's really, I think, partnerships and collaboration, because without that, it wouldn't work. But it's also not easy. I envy companies like Numa that start with, you know, digital first, sustainability in mind. Is just much easier to start with those two. When you start a company or an organization, change is a bit more challenging. And I guess for us, it's sustainability first, and digital is just enabling it to do it better.
Absolutely. Would you say that's been helpful for you, Rusmir? You know, being able to come at it without the legacy as a bit of a millstone, I suppose.
Yeah, I would say absolutely. That's kind of our legacy as well. So the sustainability, and if you're talking just simply about energy consumption, I think that's a super big point in hospitality to have like motion sensors and automated lighting, which we have in all of our properties. And we are currently testing as well smart shower solutions, which translates to the showers that can potentially adjust the water pressure, water consumption, and similarities. On the waste disposal, and again, due to our digital check-in and digital first strategy, we do not have plastic room key cards. We do not waste paper on guest registration forms that needs to be signed off on the check-ins. So there is significant as well improvement in that field. Plus, we don't have any kind of in-room collateral, printed collateral, as we communicate all information in our Numa app. And when it comes to the CO2 footprint, if we are talking about, again, our staffless policy, that means that we are not traveling every day and commuting from home to work and from work to home. Around 200 Numa employees work in completely fully remote setup, and the rest are working in hybrid. And when it comes then to the end to the CO2 footprint, I can say that we are as well on the very, very good track. And here is as well super important when we are talking about CO2 footprint and ESG, that you have solid ESG software in a place so you can measure your footprint. You would know what you need to improve in the next year, and that's exactly the strategy that we have for the years to come.
And can you just remind us what ESG software is?
So that's the software that is potentially measuring, based on the first data input, all of your consumption, all of your waste management statistics, all what comes to the sustainability, because obviously as industry, and we're staying together with industry in achieving that net zero by 2050. So which means significant data collection on our waste management, energy consumption, and all the other sustainability initiatives that are summing up in databases.
Interesting. Sasha?
Yeah, during COVID, we have commissioned a study about the environmental impact of one trip. It was American student operator, and the journey started in Saskatoon, which is the capital of Saskatchewan, whatever, in the middle of Canada. They flew via Toronto to Milan, I think, and then going to Croatia and finishing Dubrovnik. The problem with that tour was that 90% of all the carbon emissions happened during the flight. So we are only talking about 10% which we can influence and mitigate. So it's a bit demoralizing, I have to say. But still, we did, this is a big study, it's 60 pages. It was Chemistry Institute in Slovenia, and then it was added also social impacts, and this was done by some Spanish people in Barcelona, I think. Yeah, and okay, we measured the rest of the journey, also the coaches, which hotels they used, what is their carbon impact, what kind of meals we offered. You know, when Americans come to Europe, they're already reducing carbon emissions just by eating European food instead of American ones, because it's so much less processed. So the more you eat, the better. By the way, speaking of food, in our hotel, Lira, we don't serve beef. And it was a bold statement, but I pushed it through, and it was a lot of hesitation from my colleagues. Because most of our guests are American, and you can't take a steak away from an American, I suppose. But we did that, nevertheless. It's on the menu, it's written, yeah, we still have a printed menu, a beef-free hotel. And we do have other types of meat, but we want, and of course vegetarian options, we want to showcase that once a day, because most of the groups are still coming, unfortunately, only for one night, you can live without beef. And this has raised certain, there was a BBC article on that then later on, so it raised some press, and also we didn't get any negative feedbacks, actually more praises than that. But back to your question. What was the question again?
It was, what are you doing in tech for sustainability?
Oh, yeah. I know. It was tech. Yeah, so with Slovenia Green, the scheme that Martina mentioned, where we have Halki Reservation portal, we are discussing, and I mean, we are determined to measure carbon imprint. It won't be us measuring this. As she rightly said, the devil is in the details. So now they are still deciding how to measure the impacts. And once they solve this, for us it's very easy. We will then put that and enumerate how much this cost contribution is. And hopefully Slovenia will decide that this will be obligatory tax, eco-tax, which will go directly to offsetting. And so that then Slovenia will rightly say that our guests coming to the country are carbon zero, no influence on that. So this is the scheme we are now talking about, and I hope it can be pushed faster a bit, so that next year we have the results and this in place. Yeah, there are lots of options, and of course digitalization is just a tool. Everything else is in the imagination.
Thank you. Now, I think we're near the end of our session. Kate, are we doing questions from the audience? I'm not sure. Oh, I think we have someone there. We have somebody with a question. Was it? Oh, sorry, I thought you had a question. Oh, fine. Well, let's just wrap up then in the last couple of minutes. We want to bring it back to ones to watch for the future of technology-enabled tourism. Let's say I'm just going to invest in one thing when it comes to technology. I know, it's terrible, isn't it? But if I'm only doing one, I'm going, right, this is it. What should it be? Marina?
Yeah, just on my end, I'll say data. I'll say if you're not collecting it, start collecting it. If you're collecting it, start analyzing it. If you're analyzing it, start connecting the dots and making better decisions. Yeah, and using data to enhance, improve travelers' experience, because at the end of the day, that's why we're all here, to enable, offer good experiences to travelers.
So Marina's gone data and analytics. Rusmir?
Automation. And it's just not trend that is happening in the world. It's a real need, For guests, it translates to the hassle-free online and on-site experiences. For employees, it translates like liberation of everyday repetitive boring tasks and focusing on what matters the most. It's exceptional guest experience. For business owners and investors, means significant improvement in efficiency and productivity, obviously connected with the cost perspective. Therefore, less manpower costs, and therefore significant time savings.
So 1 vote for automation. And Sasha?
Yeah, Rachel, you didn't tell us about this question, huh?
No, it was at the bottom. Did you not see it?
maybe I skipped it. I think from the perspective of what I was here telling yesterday in the reservation platform, I think it's important for destinations to understand the booking process. Of course, every destination knows, and they can measure how many guests come and so on, but they don't know what has happened behind. When did these guests decide, and on what criteria? Whether if they bring a festival, should they do it in June when it's busy, or should they do it off-season, and so what are the implications? What is the booking window? Is it 3 months, 6 months, for which nationality, and so on? What is the cancellation? So all this data, we are back to data, of course, but it should be, at the moment it's not possible. The destinations are pretty blind because OTAs are not sharing this data. You cannot get this from them. Even if you do a percentage or 2 or 3 or 10% of the booking by yourself, you will see big enough data that that can influence your decisions. Because now we are coming in the world where many destinations are overcrowded, or we have a feeling that they're overcrowded. Like Iceland has 2 million visitors, that's the same in a year, like Plitvice Lakes National Park in a year. But for Iceland, it's already busy, they think. So it's all also relative. But yeah, I would say data in the hands of decision makers who can use it well.
There we go. So 2-1 for data, and then 1 for automation. So there we are. I guess it depends where you are on your journey. But I think that's our time up. So please join me in thanking Sasha, Rusmir, and Marina. Really interesting session.